Star Citizen's Subsumption-based AI could revolutionize gaming AI in both Star Citizen itself and gaming moving forward. It's a concept with so much potential. It's a high bar to set and one we're clearly not able to reach just yet. Though the groundwork is in, and as servers become more stable with Vulkan and new technology coming online, could we finally see that fabled living world Chris Roberts envisioned so many moons ago? Star Citizen is well known for its clumsy NPCs, cowering or standing on tables, spouting random, almost sensible wild lines as players move nearby. Every now and then you get a fresh server and catch a glimpse of where it's going and how alive the game world feels in that moment, only to be brought down from high by piles of corpses and running and carrying NPCs, standing on T-poses on tables, chairs, halfway through a wall, and possibly through the floor. So what is the goal here? Chris Roberts wants us to be unable to tell if the interactions are with players or NPCs, and while we've come a long way since the Static 2.0 days, the AI in Star Citizen is still very gamey in nature and buggy to boot. He's envisioned a world where NPCs live beside the players, not because of them or for them. A world in which NPCs will have jobs, families, routines. They'll eat, they'll sleep, live and die, regardless of if you're there to see it all happen all across the verse. So how do we get there? How do we achieve anything close to a world where NPCs aren't just there for us and exist in a life beyond our need for them to be there? Well, Subsumption is how, but what the hell is it? For any of the squeamish out there, techno-babble incoming. Subsumption architecture is a reactive robot architecture heavily associated with behavior-based robotics, which became very popular in the 1980s and 90s, and represents a ground-up approach to AI problem solving. While needing more development time and planning than standard top-down methodology we currently see in most video games and many modern robots. Subsumption is a control architecture that was proposed in opposition to the traditional symbolic AI. Instead of guiding robots' behavior by symbolic representations of the world, basically a pre-planned route or task, Subsumption architecture couples sensory information into action, allowing a robot to react in direct response to the world around it through various means. It does this by breaking it down into sub-behaviors, smaller chunks. These sub-behaviors are organized into a hierarchy in the form of layers, ranked by importance to their intended role. These prioritized layers give the robot the ability to adjust its current action based on the data at hand, and higher levels are able to subsume lower levels in order to create viable behavior. For example, a Roomba's lowest level layer could be avoid an object. The second layer would be wander around, which runs third to explore the world, because the robot must have the ability to avoid objects in order to wander around to complete an overall task of clean a room effectively. Subsumption architecture creates a system in which the higher layers can react with lower layers through received sensor information, working in parallel to generate outputs. These outputs can be commands or signals that suppress or inhibit other layers. As expressed above, the Roomba's task is to clean by exploring the world around it, its primary task. But it can use sensor information during that task to avoid objects, not fall down stairs or run into walls, for example. The main goal of Subsumption architecture is to tackle the problem of intelligence from a significantly different perspective than traditional AI. Older forms of robotics, or shaky robotics as it's termed, often task-oriented and were unable to adapt situationally, which is fine on a production line, but not exposed to the randomness of the world at large, and this needed to change. In a nutshell, Subsumption is driven by four key ideas. Situatedness. A major idea of situated AI is that a robot should be able to react to its environment with human-like time frame. Situated AI should not represent the world via an internal set of symbols using prediction to navigate a space, but instead model the world at close to sensor level, allowing it to react directly to that input, avoiding prediction as much as possible in the process. Embodiment, forcing the designers to think of AI or robot as it's grounded to the world around it, a function over form ethos. Intelligence. AI design needs to include the ability to motivate in the world, see it and feel it. It must be able to acquire enough sensory data to function in its task. And finally, emergence. This idea broaches the combination of the layers or tasks so that it forms from the outside looking in that the AI is actually intelligent. So again, in a nutshell, Subsumption-based AI should be able to interact and move about the world, perform given tasks or assigned tasks, but be able to react to the impedance to that task on the fly. So how's this going to work, and what will it look like to us in game? NPCs will move from states or AI types. In general, there'll be background basic AI NPCs there to fill space. They'll stare at a screen or comment on the newest thing happening in the verse, etc. These NPCs will spawn at lockers, rooms specifically designed to make the appearance and removal of the NPC happen diegetically, instead of the magically appearing and disappearing entities found in many games. Right now, this is mostly the NPC you'll find in game. There are persistent NPCs like shopkeepers that for now are eternally bound to the sales counter, never allowed to sleep or rest or die or anything unless broken or killed. Then there is what CIG term as VNPCs. These virtual players can move between AI states, manning a shop only to move from the counter to clean, and at the end of the shift they'll walk off to the nearest spawn locker and vanish until the next shift. Eventually these VNPCs will be dynamically able to switch to subsumption modes as well, allowing them to function based on the world, giving them the ability to interact, react to the world and players directly. We kind of get a taste with this right now, as NPCs can enter the cowering state or the panic state. This happens when a threat or something out of the ordinary happens within sight of the NPC. Okay, all that's very cool, but what does it mean for the player? Ultimately, the world will feel bigger, and there will be more opportunities for dynamic events and emergent gameplay. And visually, the NPC will behave in ways not seen in games to this date. Let me paint a picture for you. An NPC walks into a diner. They walk up to the counter, order food, grab the plate and go and eat. Now normally in games this is a single pre-recorded procedure. The more complex the action, the larger the toll on the servers, players' computers, and the less real it'll feel. Games like Red Dead Redemption 2 and Cyberpunk use this method to drive NPCs, with built-in breakpoints to animation cycles in case the player gets trigger happy, for example. This older method of NPC behaviour gives the illusion of intelligence. With the implementation of Subsumption, it will give our skittish table-standing friends real depth. In our example, these behaviours will be driven by the task of eat food. Each step is broken down by the Subsumption into layers, and it relies fully on the input from the world around it, instead of any pre-recorded sequence. Even the food eaten may be driven by the NPC's current location when their hunger bar drops to low, or some built-in precluded preference to noodles over hot dogs, or vice versa, while not excluding one over the other if it's the only game in town. Basically the same as players. Let's picture it. So the hunger bar hits 20%, and our hungry hippo of an NPC switches from fix the air conditioning, a low level of VNPC task, to subsumption. Bear in mind it could be any task, like fishing. For God's sake, CIG, give us fishing. Sorry about that. Anyway, it'll switch from whatever task it was performing to the locate food nearby task, then perform the layered tasks needed to eat the food and regain the hunger bar. These steps could be walk to the cafe, stand in line, buy food, sit at a table, then finally eat, perhaps then afterwards cleaning up after itself, ultimately returning back to its original task, even if that means getting on a train to fulfill that need. Using this same model of eat food, we could see much grander and potentially bleaker things as well. As an example, an NPC crew on a ship crash. This crew would eventually leave the crash informed by the environment, such as fire is bad. Eventually, they would need to eat and drink, and would potentially start a journey towards the nearest location, informed by the game's map system. Then, sadly, if they're too far away, they may pass, just like the player would. This could drive dynamic missions for players to investigate the crash, recover goods, or find missing persons, and on arrival we would see the subsumption-driven behaviour, and the results of the scene would be horrifically believable and different in every situation, and each time. The idea is to have NPC behaviour governed by the same needs as the player, but not controlled by it directly. Influenced would be a better term. It knows what it needs to do, but how, where, when are dynamically influenced by the world in the same way we are. As a bonus, by having all of these tasks broken down into smaller interruptible or interchangeable steps, we should see a sizable reduction in loading times and server-side lag, performance hits at the client side, and we could also see improved CPU performance. Not to mention visually, it should provide a far more realistically lived-in feeling world. Subsumption is capable of controlling deeper than just the movement and interaction with an NPC physically. It can also assist with conversation. Right now, player conversation with NPCs is based on menus and simple tasks, but with a language-based AI added as a layer on top of a task-based AI, this could take Star Citizen's NPC population to a whole new level. NPCs would be not limited to simple wild lines, their own voice, and be able to draw from a vast library of words and phrases. I don't personally want or believe we'll get a ChatGPT style of interaction, as these are simply absurd in settings like Star Citizen, or any MMO really, but we could start to see NPCs comment on player actions, the way we dress, smell, the weapons if we have them drawn, or recent achievement knowledge drawn from shared reputations or notoriety. A guy that works for Hurston Security, for example, knows about a player who's a rising star in the company. The sky is, to be honest, the limit. So why they will exist beside us and without us. They'll still take notice of the player and the things we do and how we interact with the world. Some personal wishful thoughts if you like. Subsumption has the potential to bring real tangible life to the verse, and while we've taken baby steps for now, as servers move to quasi and fully dynamic meshing, hardware and developer time frees up, allowing new focus on bringing the world together, making it feel vivid and lived in like nothing else has come before, and I can't personally wait to see what it looks like. As always, I've been Santo. If you like what you've seen and heard, chuck a like on the video and comment down below. And I'll see everybody in the next video.